Hello friends, we continue the poem The Garden written by Andrew Marvell. In the previous lecture, I talked about that this poem must be understood as the description of the garden. That means the poet has in his mind a particular garden and a resemblance of which he finds on the earth. So, he begins by saying that men feel very happy to grow either a palm or an oak or a bay tree, and with their continuous labors they see either a single herb or a tree grow from those labors. He means to say that people feel delighted even when they have grown just one tree. And then he continues by saying that this tree or the herb that the person has grown, it has a very short and a narrow shade, and under which the labors of the man are fulfilled. While all flowers and all trees, if you want to see a place where all flowers are growing and all trees are growing, then the only place where these can be found together are in the garlands of repose. The garlands of repose is a conceit, a structure which speaks about, which is used for the garden. He describes the garden as a garland of repose, a place where beautiful things grow to give you the rest that we require. And then he says that the two dear sisters which are not found in the world, that is, quiet and innocence, are found in the garden. And then Andrew Marvell, the speaker, says that he was mistaken for a very long time because he was trying to hunt for quiet and innocence in the busy companies of men. He furthers the idea and says that the sacred plants of quiet and innocence, these are like plants. They grow on their own and to give comfort. He says that wherever the sacred plants on earth, here is earth, on this earth are found, they are found only among the plants, because society is very rude to this delicious solitude, the solitude that is found in the garden. And now we begin with the today's lecture. The poet is so enchanted with the thought of describing a garden that he makes a very frank submission and says that no white nor red was ever seen so amorous as this lovely green. So people might be thinking that the red, which is the color of the king of flowers, that is rose. So no white, the color of a lily, no lily which is innocent, no rose that is beautiful. Better than these is the lovely green, because a garden is basically green with scattered colors. All colors are there. So, in comparison to this lovely green of the garden, no white or red can compete with this. And fond lovers, the poet speaks about those lovers who, when they fall in love, they go on to engrave the name of their beloveds on the trunks, on the barks of the trees. He says, fond lovers, cruel as their flame, cut in these trees their mistress's name. He says that these gardens are so beautiful, they are so large hearted that they do not stop these fiery spirits of the lovers from engraving their mistress's name on the trunks of the trees. That this also shows that there is an anger, a hidden anger in the heart of the poet against those lovers, because he uses the word cruel. He calls them cruel. If you love someone, how can you harm the other? So cruel they are in the passion of their love for their mistress that they harm the trees. They are as cruel as their flame of desire, and they cut in these trees their mistress's name. Little, alas, they know or heed how far these beauties hers exceed. The poet makes fun of these. He ridicules these lovers and says, little they know. They know only very little, and he uses the word alas. This exclamatory word is spoken when you have a sense of complete destruction. The poet is feeling so miserable, and he says, alas, these lovers, they do not know, and nor do they heed. Heed means pay attention. Nor do they pay attention that the beauties of these trees, these beauties is about the beauty of trees. Hers is about the beauty of the mistress. So he says, the trees' beauties exceed the beauty of the beloved's beauty. And then he uses the term, fair trees, wheresoever your barks I wound. It should be read as wound. If at all, oh my dear fair trees, if at all I would wound your bark, no name but your own be found. I will not inscribe anyone's name. If at all I am driven to write down anything on you, fair trees, then the only name that I will write will be your own name. Sometimes people, if the tree is very beautiful, people might not know what their name is. So, to immortalize the name of the tree, sometimes we inscribe the name of the tree on the tree trunk. So the poet says, if at all, if at any point of time, I would want to write anyone's name, then no other name but your own I will write. When we have run our passion's heat, love hither makes his best retreat. Then the awe-stricken poet, the poet who is admiring the garden, he says that when a point of time comes in our life when we have run means when we have finished our passion's heat. So when the heat of desire in our existence, of our passions, when it becomes less, then love hither means here, love here makes his best retreat. You must have seen old people who might have lost their belongings, people who have lost their loved ones and are left alone. They are generally the ones who occupy the seats or places in a garden. Because to fill in the blanks, to fill in that space that has come to exist in their soul, to to be rid of the feeling of loneliness, they make their best retreat. Retreat is place of comfort. We have already understood this, the meaning of this word retreat, in the poem that we did earlier by Henry Vaughan, who was yet another metaphysical poet. So, Andrew Marvell also says that if one has to find love when their passions have been pent out, they only come here. Hither is here. They come and have their best comfort. And then he says, not only human beings come for comfort here, even the gods that mortal beauty chase. He says even gods are in love with the earth. Now this G is written with small, it's a small g. That means powerful beings, the heavenly beings, whoever fell in love with the mortal. Mortal is earthly. पृथ्वी की कोई भी सुंदर महिलाओं को अगर किसी भी देव ने पसंद किया तो उन्होंने क्या किया? Still in a tree did end their race. Then their race ended on the earth in the form of trees. When we all believe that gods live on a higher plane than ours, they do not live on earth, they live high above. And from there, if they saw a beautiful woman, then what they did was they only came and settled down on the earth, and they settled their beloveds on the earth as trees. Only in a tree, only in a plant form did the lover and the beloved find a position on earth. And the next few lines are about they are the examples of the beautiful women, the earthly women who were chased by gods. Now, the example is of Apollo. Apollo is sun god. He fell in love with the earthly girl whose name was Daphne. So when Apollo hunted Daphne, when Apollo was attracted to the earthly beauty of Daphne, only that she might laurel grow. Laurel is a beautiful vine, tendril, on which lovely flowers grow. So, when he fell in love with Daphne, he transformed Daphne into a beautiful tendriller plant, and which even today breaks down into beautiful bloom. This is to say that gods, if they love any earthly creature, then they change the earthly creature into a plant. Why do they change it into a plant? Because the beloved might move around and go away from them, whereas the plant will stay in its place and can be visited at any point of time. So Apollo, when he hunted Daphne, he changed Daphne into a laurel. And Pan is the god of love. When he fell in love with Syrinx, then he transformed her, he did not let her stay as a nymph. Nymph is a girl. He did not let Syrinx remain as a girl, but changed her into a reed. Reed is a very beautiful hollow, plants with hollow stems from which flutes are made. Music comes out of them. So he changed Syrinx into a reed. These 4 lines are about the beautiful women who were, when gods fell in love with them, then they were transformed into plant form and fixed on earth to be of, so that their beauty can last forever. They do not fade. A laurel never fades and a reed never fades. Laurel is a beautiful plant with lovely flowers, and reed is a plant with hollow stems of which flutes and wind instruments are made, musical instruments are made. This is all for today, and we'll continue. And before I end, I would like to bring to your knowledge that the same structure is repeated. It rhymes as in couplets. Sow, grow, speed, read. So two lines are rhyming together. This is the elemental structure of this poem. Thank you.